Welcome to a new idea here we got going. It's called Fan Court. My name is Sam, joined by my friend Ken.
Hello, guys.
And we figured, why not have a nice little debate show going on about what we think is better, where we rank, talk, and just discuss who is better in general. And with the Mario movie coming up, we decided let's go with the Mario characters. Ken, how do you feel about your knowledge of Mario characters?
It's subpar at best.
Subpar at best. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that we got our tier maker going on. We're both looking at it. We're going to work on this together. And I think we just need to, just jump right in and we're going to start talking some characters. And I'll throw this one to you. Where do you think Bowser Jr. belongs on our tier list here?
I love this guy. I think we had this talk before, but Bowser Jr., he's a solid B in my book.
And why are we giving him a B?
Because while he's not S tier by any means at all, he's definitely not trash. He's got enough clout in the game industry to warrant himself mid-pack.
So we the way we like to discuss it, as we did discuss, like we want to talk about his impact on the games, and he was huge in Super Mario Sunshine, but after that he kind of fell off. He really hasn't done anything after that. Like New Super Mario Bros, he was relegated by the Koopalings, and he really hasn't done anything, right?
He hasn't, but see, that's the thing. It's like you look at his impact in Sunshine. It was he had some major pull. He did a lot. He was a major character in that game, and that to me warrants his status as B class.
Yeah, I think we agree both on that B classing because of what he did in Super Mario Sunshine, but also he's a great character in Mario Kart 8 to play as too. I got to give him some props for his Mario Kartness.
Gotta love him in Mario Kart. I'm still a huge Luigi fan in Mario Kart, but he wasn't bad.
He was not bad. We'll get to him. We'll get to Luigi later, but we got to go King of the Jungle, the original villain to Mario, who was redeemed. We got Donkey Kong here. Where we think Donkey Kong goes?
I'm gonna get some hate on this one, but Donkey Kong is S class in my book.
He's F class or S?
S, like
Oh, okay.
solid S.
I don't think you're gonna get hate for that. I think Donkey Kong is a great character. I'm gonna defend you on that S ranking. Honestly, that was even higher than I was gonna go, but I can agree with it because he was the original, creation that brought Mario into the world. He still fights Mario on occasion, and he still gets
Yep.
great games, even if they're not in the Mario universe.
He is pretty solid as a character overall. His character development stalled out like through much of the early games and early
Mm.
introductions, but in later years they fleshed him out through like TV, cartoons, other movies and whatnot. And he's his own person. He's a pretty solid character in my book.
He really is. Like he does bring a lot. Like he's always the powerhouse character in all of like the side Mario games. Seth Rogen is gonna bring him to life.
Yep, yep. Which, by the way, I am much more pleased about Seth Rogen bringing him to life than I am Mario's voice actor. By the way, just not naming names, but I like Seth Rogen a whole lot better.
We don't when we get to Mario, we don't need to bring up who he's being voiced by. I know everyone is having some issues with that. So we got to talk about our first player two here, from Donkey Kong to Diddy Kong. Where we thinking our skater monkey goes?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm gonna go off and just say I never liked him, honestly, as a
Hmm.
character. Um, I have my reasons why, but where would you rank him at?
Honestly, I'm kind of with you. Diddy Kong to me personally hasn't done much. The reason why I'm gonna give him a C tier though, because he would be a D for me. Diddy
Hmm.
Kong Racing was such a great game on the N64 that it does boost him up one letter grade for me. But besides that, he really doesn't do it for me. There's not really much to him as a character.
See, that was my thing. So, like in Donkey Kong Island, I was not really impressed with him as a character at all, and just overall, I've not seen any franchise do anything with him, so I can't really, I just don't like him.
So like I said, I'm personally a C. What are you thinking on him?
Uh, I can go C. I can go C class.
What's funny too is it might be Diddy Kong Racing, but you just love the game for the cameos because that's where Conker started. Banjo and Kazooie made their
Uh
first
huh.
debut in that game. It was such a great game all around. Like I wish they brought that back too with Mario Kart.
Oh my God! You know what's funny? I had high hopes when they were porting some of the old console games over to the Switch, and I saw a list that included that, and I thought they were going to remaster it, but they didn't. So maybe one day.
Hopefully, maybe on the Nintendo Switch expansion pass, which I'll get in my thoughts about that later. We could talk about that later because that's way too much money just for N64 games. I feel like, and it's not even all of them.
No, oh my God, that's a whole other thing. Let's
We'll save that for another day.
I'm over here biting my nails just thinking about it. So no, yeah, my anxiety's kicking in now.
Let's talk about Magikoopa now, or Kamek as he was called earlier in the games.
Is that his name? Are you serious?
Yes, his name was Kamek. But they switched it to, I think he is Magikoopa now, just because it's so much easier.
Interesting. I would have never guessed that. You know who he was for me? He was Cloud Guy.
Cloud Guy?
Yeah.
You sure? Because he never rode the cloud. That's Lakitu's.
Was it really?
Yeah, that was Lakitu in the clouds when you were playing. Magikoopa in the new ones, he flies around on the broom. He sends out the PlayStation buttons to make, the mini bosses grow.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I remember now. You know what? See, that just shows how trash a character he is. I did not recognize him.
And that's the thing. No one's going to recognize him. So honestly, yeah, that's what he does, but he really doesn't make an impact on nothing. I bet after I said his name, Kamek, anyone who was listening is not going to remember that. They're going to keep calling him Magikoopa.
Yeah, exactly. Just like Cloud Guy.
Just like Cloud Guy. And honestly, I think that's going to be our first D tier going on here. I think we could agree on that Magikoopa is he's not a great character.
No complaints there. If there was an F class, he'd go in that.
You know what? I think we could make one.
Ooh, does he get the honors of being the first?
We're making a whole new class if you're watching this on oh, I switched it to F by accident. If you're watching this on YouTube, we are actually making a F tier for Magikoopa just because that's how unrecognizable he is.
We are making history here, folks.
It's our first episode and we're already changing the rules.
Gotta love democracy.
Oh, absolutely. And now from one villain who might have not left an impact to maybe another one who left a little bit of a bigger impact, Goomba.
Oh, God, all day. S class.
Goomba is an S class. You see, he's so good that he made it to Mario Party.
Yep.
Magikoopa couldn't even do that.
Exactly my point. Any character that makes it to Mario Party, any character that is in a movie also, and I think he's in both movies, isn't he? Was he in the original Mario movie and this new one coming in?
He was in the original movie.
Yeah. So S class all day.
He's S class. He's the first enemy you see in the first Mario Bros game. And it's just iconic because everyone knows what the Goombas are. And they're used every day still. Every game, you're seeing a Goomba.
Thanks to him, I don't like mushrooms.
Thanks to him, you don't like mushrooms. What's funny is I'm the opposite because Mario ate mushrooms to grow, I loved mushrooms for that reason.
Well, see, that was kind of the mind trip I had. Because in the original Mario, I thought, okay, awesome mushrooms because they were like white and red and they're awesome. I'm like, okay, cool. But then this guy's a mushroom, and I'm like, I don't know about that now. He looks like normal mushrooms. Like the thing Mario eats is not found in any store I've ever been in.
Put some food coloring and we got this.
Yeah, no. Not going to happen.
In fact,
I think the mushrooms that Mario eats sends me on a whole different trip than the mushrooms you get at Whole Foods. So, yeah.
So the Mario mushroom that makes him grow is not actually going to make you grow. It's going to make you trip.
It's going to make you trip pretty hard.
My Lord. So I think we got to go into the number 2 enemy you run into, Koopa Troopa.
I don't know. That's a tough one because, I've seen him often enough when replaying Mario over and over and over again that he kind of just blends into the background. That's a tough one.
He's a tough one. Personally, he probably would have been a B/C tier for me. But because of the TikTok trend that was out there a little while back, he's honestly an A tier for me because I think people were hilarious with the Koopa Troopa dance. They brought out their best stuff. Like one of the favorite ones was just Koopa Troopa crying at a funeral and then he just does his little dance while he's there. I think that personally gives me an A tier for him. That's my personal opinion. We got to agree on this fan court here, So what are you thinking? I just put him in A tier for the moment. He's a nice little placeholder.
I can see that. I can see. See, I honestly I was thinking B tier because he holds as much significance as like Bowser or even Mario in my book. But to that point, now that he's been on TikTok, he's definitely an A class. He's A
Yeah,
tier.
you see, that's the thing. Like, if you've got a trend going for you, that really does help your character because that means people are relating with you and like doing what they can for it.
Exactly. And if other people jump on the bandwagon too, they share your sentiment.
Exactly. Now, what do you think about a Koopa Trooper that's been skinned and is basically a zombie?
Oh, he's A class too.
Dry Bones is such a cool character. Like, you stomp on him, but he comes back.
Exactly. That was honestly first fear unlocked before I started playing Super Metroid was this guy coming back to life after I jumped on him and fell in lava.
Yeah, you know what? I remember that. I remember doing that. I'm like, oh my god, Koopa Trooper. Koopa Trooper's been skinned alive. Let's take him out. And then he just comes back up and walks into me because I'm not paying attention.
Do you remember jumping across the little floating brick landing platform and it swings back and forth and then one of those guys is just walking there and then you'll jump on him, think you won, and then it swings back and he's back to being alive again?
Yep, I do
That
remember that.
that right there was like, oh, that was video gaming excellence. Whoever designed that just mwah, that was perfection. That was a perfect final level.
It really was. And honestly, like as we're moving on through this, like we'll get to King Koopa himself because they do great with him. Like the design for like what they do to set up a lot of these villains, I feel like they hit beautifully on like the iconic ones, but they kind of miss sometimes with some of like the newer ones that are coming out.
They do. And I think what it is a lot of the lore gets lost through the years as they add more characters. And I feel like the characters that retain that solid background, right, from like first inception all the way through what are we in like 2023, like the
2023, yeah.
2023. Yeah, I feel like the characters that are able to maintain that through over the decades, those are the ones you rate highly. If you don't remember who they are after 30 years of service, they're trash.
Yeah, definitely. And like that's why Magic Koopa fell so low, considering that you didn't even remember his name.
Exactly. Now I see Cloud Guy actually further down the list, but we'll talk about Cloud Guy
We'll talk
later.
about Cloud Guy later. Let's
Yeah.
move on to Shy Guy, who actually his first appearance was in Yoshi's Island.
Ah, Yoshi's Island, amazing game.
It was.
Shy Guy, he's a good character, but let's see where you rank him at. Where do you see Shy Guy
I see him because also my girlfriend will kill me as an S tier if I do anything lower than S.
at?
She loves Shy Guy, but I can't blame her. First of all, Shy Guy is adorable. He is an adorable little
Yeah.
guy. He relates honestly, personally, to a lot of people within like kind of. I'm include you say you're old, but you're young at heart. So I'm gonna say he kind of fits in with like our generation because like he's a very shy, like anxious person, but he still goes out in the world and does what he needs to do, and then goes home and cries later.
I'll tell you what would keep him above B class for me
Hmm.
was his appearance in Strikers. For me, that kind of brought him out of the D class tier, C class tier, and him in that game gave me hope for all the shy people in the world.
Yes, so I think for me personally, Shy Guy's an S. You're thinking he's a B?
Well, I had him initially as a B, but we can meet in the middle at an A,
I was
maybe.
gonna say so. Since we have it so close, we're kind of one off of each other. I think an A rating is great for him. Once we get to kind of like a big difference, I think we're gonna have to get into that heated debate of ours.
See, I'm with you on that one. So if you're cool with an A, I'm cool with an A.
I'm cool with an A. He's a great character. I think he kind of does embody like kind of a lot of people in today's world where it's like it's just really hard sometimes. You want to hide behind a mask, but you still do what you gotta do.
I mean, he was a captain in Strikers, so he's got clout in my book.
Oh yeah. Now to the Hammer Bros.
Ha ha ha. So I have my thoughts. I immediately want to go to an A class for the Hammer Bros, but what are your thoughts?
Honestly, the Hammer Bros. So I personally would give them probably like a B.
Okay.
They so for me personally, like they kind of got relegated. I feel like a little bit in the newer games, which kind of kills them for me. And
Hmm.
when they were first introduced, they were a much harder villain to fight. But I feel like they just got relegated to, oh, you beat me and you get a free good item. And it's like, that's not fun. You were supposed to be a challenge.
You know what? You're 100% right. Like in the early Mario games, I really found them to be challenging, and there was no reward, right? Other than the fact that you beat a super hard, interesting villain. I agree with you. Now it's just like I beat them to get a prize.
Yeah, so that for me kind of like, so I still have to give them their past. So,
Hmm.
and you know what they do in Mario Baseball, they are one. Honestly, they're an awesome power hitter, and I like to use them every time I play.
Hmm. I
But
can see that.
because they got relegated to beat me get a prize, I feel like that ruins them and makes them a B tier for me.
I would agree with you on that one. I would do a B tier.
Okay, let's head to space now, and let's see what we think about Rosalina.
Ooh. Ah. So once again, this might be questionable, but
Let's hear it.
I like Rosalina a lot.
You
I
know,
actually really did.
so I've got a friend, Eric. He hate me 702. He's on Vegas
Huh?
Benchwarmers podcast. He loves Rosalina. He really does.
You're gonna hate my reasons as to why.
Okay, let's hear your reasons.
Although she's pretty hot.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's not gonna hate it because a lot of people say that. I've heard that argument a lot. Also, she's like 7 foot, which really makes it cool.
That part too. So like when I first saw her appear in the game, I was like, "Oh snap, that's a new character. Awesome sauce." And then you start playing the game and you see some of like the character development and backstory. I'm like, she's not a bad character. Overall, her story is compelling enough. It's more than any of the other Mario characters to date so far. So from in my book, I would say a pretty solid A class.
Solid A class. Well, here's where people might hate me now. Cause
Okay.
Mario Galaxy is definitely my favorite Mario game to date. That game was beautiful.
Hmm.
I know Odyssey is a close second, but Mario Galaxy was a great game.
It was.
So here's the problem I have though, because we also talk about the effect that they have, long term. Rosalina
Hmm.
hasn't done anything anymore besides Mario Galaxy. Like she's an unlockable character in 3D world. That's great. She's in Mario Kart, Mario Party, but like she gets no more development though, and I think that's why a lot of people drew to her too. Like she was a real character. Like we learned about her becoming Mother of the Lunas, but
Yep.
because they haven't
Yep.
followed up with anything, like no Mario Galaxy 3, like that's fine, but like you got to give her something to do, and that personally for me makes it a C tier.
Ah. Okay, we might have to debate a little bit now because
You're not going to be
this
okay with a B tier on that one?
I'm well, you said C tier.
I
So,
thought you
and
said
I said
A.
well, I said A, you said C.
Yep.
And I would meet in the middle and say B, but I go back to my thought process for these rankings is just their significance overall, right?
Yeah.
And again, you've got God, was it 50 plus years now of Mario being around? How long has Mario been around? Like since
30 years.
is it can't be 30. Is it?
Hold on. While you continue to debate, I will pull up the Captain Google.
There you go. Do the Captain Google.
Captain
So,
Google. You'll see. I'm gonna move it to the other side.
all right. So, in my book, right, you think of your core characters. You think of like Kong, Mario, Luigi, Bowser, that whole group, right? Which they are clearly, in a league of their own because that's the franchise. Super Mario Galaxy, for me, when I first played it, was groundbreaking in my book. That was like a game changer game in the Mario franchise.
Absolutely
And
is.
she was one of the characters that was, again, outside of your normal characters that have no development, she was the first one for me. So she carries that significance, not S tier, obviously not like, Diddy Kong or Mario or anybody else, but like at least an A class. And I would say meet in the middle at B, but then I'm thinking to myself, I can't put her with Hammer Bros.
No. Well, so Google's Captain Google says Mario's been around for 42 years.
I knew he was older than
He
me.
was
That
older. He
that
was very much older. Um, so here's the thing though. Like, so we're talking about, yeah, Rosalina has been in everything since. No, she hasn't been. Yeah, ever since she got introduced in Mario Galaxy, like she made it to Mario Kart Wii, Mario
hmm
Kart 8, Mario Party Superstars. Like I said,
hmm
like she's making her rounds in there. What drew me to her initially, like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, she's hot. Like, yeah, I mean, she's she's a princess, and that's kind of what we,
She's a different
she's a
princess.
different princess.
Yeah.
And we've been taught as a society that princess means you have to be super attractive. What drew me to her was she had great development in those games with like the Lumas, like her space station and like all the galaxy stuff. And just
Yeah.
honestly, I really don't like. I can, you know what, if we're going based on her inclusion and everything, yeah, A tier. But because I was drawn to her character when she was first brought in, and they haven't done anything with her character since, that's what kind of lowered it down for me. Kind of like Hammer Bros. Like they were a big villain that, like, you had to get past and figure it out, and then they were
Hmm.
relegated to prizes. Rosalina,
Right.
I feel like, is getting relegated to the Waluigi treatment somewhat.
I can see that. I can see that. So let me offer my last little bit of evidence towards her case of being at least higher than a B tier.
Let's hear it.
Of all the Nintendo consoles, which one do you think had the most staying power outside of the current Switch?
Oh, I was gonna not even include that one right now, but the Wii definitely had the most was the most popular Nintendo.
Exactly. And I feel like the most people outside of like people slightly older than my generation right now basically came into Mario on the Wii. Like I'm so surprised when I hear kids talk about like Nintendo franchises that they jumped into, and none of them are from Super Nintendo. None of them. Like
Yeah,
they're all like, Mario Galaxy and, you know, different types of the newer games, right? So because of that, I feel like her introduction at that time on that game introduced her to a much wider range of audience members than any of the other characters to date so far, outside of your original core Mario cast. So I think she single-handedly catapulted herself into that range by appearing in that game, being so character driven, being a different princess, all those different things, I think kind of go towards her case of being A class.
you know what? Honestly, that definitely is the one that swayed me, because you mentioned it right there. Like, it is also about, like, just the effect, and you're hit it right on the head for me personally. Like, a lot of kids are their Princess Peach might be who they saved, but Princess Rosalina is their princess.
Yep, exactly.
So that one, that
Exactly.
I, as much as, like, yeah, I would like to see more out of her. I think the A tier, just because of the impact that it is. Like, when people who started with the Wii, that's their princess right there.
Exactly my point.
So from interesting characters to, probably, personally, I don't know how everyone's gonna feel, but the blandest character in gaming, Mario.
Oh, oh, yeah. No, he's trash. He's F tier.
He's F tier for you.
No, I joke. I kid. I kid. I kid. People are like, this guy talked about significance and like historical significance of characters and goes F tier for Mario. No, no, that
Trash.
would be funny. Instantly
Mario,
funny.
but here, so he's icon of gaming. He has no personality,
None.
and that's why I think he's like a B C tier.
Yeah, I would agree. And honestly, for the reasons why you wanted to rank Rosalina lower than A class, I would actually use those same reasonings for Mario. And it sounds kind of counterintuitive, right? But here's my thought. When you have 42 years of character development and you do not move past, but it's to me, Mario, that lowers you instantly in my book. That literally lowers you instantly in my book. I would rank him S tier, but if he had character development, if he was in any other franchise, that was not going to happen. I would have ranked him A tier if any of his games he showed any sort of development outside of just being Mario, and I would have ranked him B tier. What brings him lower than B tier in my book is his infant counterpart.
Is his counterpart?
His infant counterpart.
Oh, we'll talk about those later, but honestly, you're hitting, like, he's in every game. It's like he just kind of does everything, but that gives him no personality. Like, he's very balanced in all the sports games, and like that doesn't make him interesting. Like, he's not faster, he doesn't jump higher. Like, he just does everything, and that
He's a well balanced playing machine.
exactly, and like that doesn't give him any character.
It doesn't. So okay. To be serious, I would rank him B tier, honestly. I would be with you with C tier, but because he's so iconic, I can't do him that injustice of putting him C tier. But to keep it 100 with you, just out of that lack of character development over 42 years, and just the fact that he does nothing special, I have to put him B tier.
Yeah, so if he didn't help save the video game market, he would absolutely be a C tier.
That part. To put in perspective, honestly, even in the early like Super Nintendo and even some of the Nintendo games that I played as a kid, I would often switch to Luigi because I felt like he was different.
He
Even if he was just a pixel shaded version of Mario, I felt like he was different and I would play as Luigi.
Oh my god, I think a lot of people would. We'll talk about Luigi later, why we love him so much. But like he Luigi oozes personality, while Mario's just like, I got this. So like, just I can do it. And it's like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, there's no substance. It's just yeah, no. I'm cool
So
with him being B tier.
B tier. Now the first person, I can't even say princess. The first person he ever saved, Pauline.
Whew. That's another good one.
See, so Pauline hasn't done anything in years
Like
until
not even a little bit.
2017, where she was the mayor of New Donk City.
Interesting. I did not know that. Is that where she came in again?
Yes,
2017?
2017 Mario Odyssey.
Holy crap.
And
See,
then and then she was in the new Mario Tennis and the new Mario Golf, but that was it. Like there's not really much else to her.
interesting. Yeah, no, she can be D tier in my book. Yeah,
Honestly, what's saving her from F is that song that she did.
she did a song.
Yeah, honestly, like the song from Mario Odyssey was the voice actor for Pauline, I guess, and honestly, that saved her from being an F tier in my mind.
Wasn't it like who voiced her?
I have no idea.
Let's ask the Google.
Captain Google's coming back.
Kate Higgins.
Kate Higgins. So honestly, that
Oh,
song she did was
she's
beautiful.
Tails. Okay, nice.
Still a D though, because there's no substance there.
Ah, good point. I don't know. I love Kate. I love Tails.
If we once we're talking about Sonic characters, because Tails is a great character in my mind.
I do love
I
Tails.
think we have to go in next time and do some Sonic characters,
We will.
but we'll save that for another list.
So yeah, I'm cool with D tier.
Petey Piranha. He hasn't done much of anything.
No, they haven't really done anything with him either.
Another D tier.
Another D tier.
Honestly, like it's so sad because like in Mario Baseball, like he just smacks home runs, but that's it. That's all he does.
Yeah. Which it's fun, but there's no substance.
No substance to him. King Boo.
King Boo, I like that guy. I'm feeling A tier for him.
Honestly, I can agree. He was the main villain in Luigi's Mansion.
Yep.
He's the reason why Luigi kind of has a personality, and I think he does help build Luigi like a little bit because he's the main antagonist.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they use him quite well.
They do. They do. That game, and I think we spoke about this before. Luigi as a character overall in his own game felt more alive than Mario in 42 plus years of game.
Absolutely. And honestly, like when we get to him, I want to mention it more, but in Luigi's Mansion 3, like you even see Luigi's personality. Like Mario's like, "Oh, I'm going to go jump and just go right to the boss." And Luigi's like, "This guy?
Yeah,
Seriously?"
exactly. Exactly. That's why. Yeah, we'll talk about him
We'll talk about that more. All right.
Yeah.
So Cloud Guy,
Cloud
Lakitu.
Guy. Yes. Yes. So Cloud Guy. So what's so funny is I actually knew his name. But because I grew up with him just being Cloud Guy, he's always Cloud Guy in my book. And in fact, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if you Google Cloud Guy, he pops up.
Let's see. All right. I'm going to actually leave this on screen. Cloud Guy. So if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see my Google search. And no, he does not.
Oh wow.
Cloud Guy is a minor character from Trolls and Trolls World Tour.
You know what's funny? That makes sense. If you type Mario afterwards, then he pops up.
So let's say Mario Cloud Guy. And I spelled Mario wrong, but yes, Lakitu is Mario Cloud Guy.
Interesting. I bet he popped up before Trolls came out.
Yeah, probably before the Trolls movie came out, that would pop up.
Yeah.
So what are we giving Cloud Guy?
Uh, well, you know my thoughts on Cloud Guy. Anybody that has a staying power in history over 40 years, in my book, is S tier. But they haven't really done anything special with him in a while either, so I'd say B tier.
So honestly, you're right, and I think I'm a harsher grader than you are because I would have said C.
Yeah.
But I'll give him B tier because he is kind of a huge part of Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
Because without him, you can't start the race.
Exactly.
So that's why he gets a B tier in my book.
Exactly. You see his lovely face every single time you play Mario Kart.
And he became a playable driver in Mario Kart 7 and stayed in Mario Kart 8. So
Yep, exactly. And oh my God, every iteration of Mario Kart.
he was always there. So he gets a B tier for me just because of that.
No complaints.
Now, from Petey Piranha to Piranha Plant.
I do love him.
What are we giving Piranha Plant?
I also want to say B tier.
You know what? Honestly, if they didn't put him in Smash Bros, he would be much lower. But because he made his way into Smash Bros, he's a B tier
Yeah.
for me.
Glad we agree on something.
We've honestly, I feel like we've disagreed on 2 of them.
So far, yeah. Yeah, that's weird. I was expecting to disagree a whole lot more, because, just because.
Just because. But again, I feel like I'm a harsher grader. I feel like I definitely lower a lot of these guys than you do.
That is true. That is true. But see, I think mine comes from my initial assessment of these characters is Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So we've got that going for it.
Yeah, that is definitely helping with the knowledge there. But let's talk about Toad, Mr. My Princess is in Another Castle.
S tier.
Yep, I can't even.
All day.
He is utilized everywhere. He's going to be a main part probably in the movie. He's voiced, they picked a great person to voice him. He is everything.
I mean, have you seen his swag? He wears a vest and baggy pants.
He is all swag.
He's like every single like R&B singer from the 90s.
He is. He really is. And now let's move on to female Toad, Toadette.
F.
You don't like her at all.
Not even a little bit.
Well, I might give her a C. This is where I'm not the harsh grader for once.
Okay, you have to explain that.
So,
I see no reason to rate her higher than an F.
The reason why I'm giving her a C is because of the game Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. They made her a little bit more interesting. She was Captain Toad's number 2. They kind of kept him level-headed with her, and I feel like she just kind of gave him a little more. Captain Toad just kind of like that extra bump of like to show that he's the easily excitable one, and she's like, "Come on, man, we gotta do this." And like I thought that kind of helped her a little bit.
I can see that.
I could give her a C only because of that. Her introduction was Mario Kart Double Dash, and she was really relegated to just kind of like support roles and like giving the stars out in Mario Party. So like I can't. C is the highest I can go, and the lowest I could go, I would say, is D. I don't think she deserves an F.
Fine. Fine. I'll give you the D.
You'll give Toadette the D.
I'll give her the D.
She's not Magic Koopa levels of bad. She's just the right amount of bad.
She's the right amount.
Like I can't say she's a great character. She's got no development. She's got nothing going for her.
None
but because
whatsoever.
of just her role in Treasure Tracker, that just kind of gives her that little bump for me.
See, I didn't play that game.
It was a fun game. I recommend it. It's a nice little puzzler. It's definitely a different drastic change from the normal Mario games, and it's a really.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever played Super Mario 3D World, Captain Toad is the bonus levels. And
gotcha.
Those are fun. Those are fun.
See, that's why she's trash in my book.
The original player 2, Luigi.
Well, you already know how I feel about that guy.
We
He's
both
the OG.
love him. Honestly, I feel like he's an S tier for us, but I have a feel like there's something, I don't know, that's just telling me A tier for some reason. But I'm like, he's an S though. Like he fills the criteria.
I mean, if you even disgrace him with anything lower than an S, you can just go ahead and hang it up right now.
He deserves an S. He even got a Year of Luigi, which I'm sorry, but Nintendo kind of fumbled that. They need to redo that. They need to redo the Year of Luigi.
Ah, they do. They do. I mean, when you, did you? Well, you were there and you saw the introduction for the Mario movie, and I think he deserves his own Luigi Day.
He
You
does. We
know,
were
Mario gets a day, Luigi gets a day.
we were watching that screen sharing like we're doing now, and we're like, they were talking about everyone gets a day. I'm like, yeah, Luigi should get a day.
If anything, there's a whole brand of Italian ice. They can make it all Luigi green,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
I bet you it would sell.
Yeah, that probably would. I think they should do that. All right, Princess number one, Princess Toadstool or Princess Peach, however you want to call her. What is she getting as a rating?
She is Princess Peach. Any other princess name does not do her justice. She's Princess Peach. I don't care what Toadstool affiliation she has. She's Princess Peach. Um, let's see. I I'm feeling A
You're feeling A. Can I ask
I
why are
am
you feeling A?
because she's got that historical pull like Mario and Luigi.
Yeah,
Obviously,
obviously.
obvious, obvious reasons. She's had her own appearances.
She did
She's
have her own game, so I will give you that.
she had her own game. Yep. And I in every iteration where she's doing something, even from the very first Mario, she's got character. You know, the only thing that brings her back for me is going back to one of your earlier points is that they don't really do as much as I would like to see with her as a character. Like in Luigi's game, he was just so full of life, but
He
with
was.
Peach, she doesn't have that same level of life.
So I think she's gonna be an A tier for me as well because A, the movie does her justice. I feel like the
Yes.
movie is gonna really change Peach's character. And I'm just kind of anticipating that at this point. I'm ready for this. Like, we're gonna get like this badass Peach who's ready to rumble.
If I think that this is her pivot point in history, and she'll be S tier after this.
I think so too, and I think her voice actor is gonna give her justice perfectly.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that. And honestly, if there was one thing that I would do to move her to S class, it would be if Yoshi wasn't S class. If
Oh,
there was a class above S, I would rank her S class.
if there was a class, you want to put double S?
Can we do that? Are we allowed to do that? Can we do double S?
We are the host. We are allowed to do what we want, and if we want to say there's a double S, there's a double S now.
Oh my God, are we going Super Saiyan on?
We're going
Are we
Super
going
Saiyan
Super
because
Saiyan?
I think we both agree who our number one characters are, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But if we need to put double S, if you want to put Peach in there, I think we can.
Okay, we can move Peach to S class then.
There's only one thing that deters me from her, but it's not even her fault. It's Nintendo's fault. They
Oh,
made
100%.
they made her powers based on her emotion. It's like, why couldn't she just have like badass powers that weren't based around her emotions?
Exactly, exactly. That would make her so much better of a character. That would be amazing.
But that's not her fault. That's Nintendo's fault.
It is. It is. I give that to Nintendo.
All right. Hi, I'm Daisy. What's her ranking? Because I personally don't like her.
I would agree with you on that one. I don't like her either.
But
Um,
how annoying is she to you?
see now I think I'm a little bit biased. So, what's your ranking?
Um, the highest I can give her is a C. I could go as low as I want, but the highest I'm going is a C. She's only been in one major Mario game, which was the Game Boy
Yep.
Advance one.
Yep.
She is honestly the most annoying character in Mario Kart Double Dash because I have nightmares of her saying, "Hi, I'm Daisy. Hi, I'm Daisy." Every time you switch, that just drives me nuts. Like her superpowers only like her powers are literally just clone Peach. She is a lesser version of Peach, and honestly, like I wish I'm kidding, but like she's not even like one below Peach. Like she is way too below Peach. She is miles below Peach.
See, so here's my thoughts, and it sounds like you might agree, because I feel like she's a cheap Dollar General knockoff of Peach. She gets the exact opposite. She's an F for me.
She's an F. Honestly, I'm a okay with F. Like I can't even like I'm sorry, but like Daisy for me has like just no character. She has brought no impact to the Mario franchise.
None whatsoever. In fact, she has as much remembrance in my book as the Magic Guy.
Yeah. All right. I honestly, like I said, C is the highest if you liked her. I was a okay with going lower just because she just. I'm. They really fumbled with this one. They really did fumble with Daisy.
They did. They could have done a lot, but they didn't. So enough of her. Let's move on to the OG. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's rock.
All right, Yoshi. He's double S.
Double S, no questions. Hands down, best character ever. Period.
Yeah,
Since
no.
day one.
He.
No cap.
I have a Yoshi plush collection behind me because he is my favorite character of all time. Favorite video game character all time. I don't even care. Like I loved Master Chief, but Yoshi was always number one for me. I love that character. He's just there's no beating him.
He's as synonymous with Nintendo and the Mario franchise as Mario himself.
If Yoshi
And
didn't have his game, Mario wouldn't even be around because he's the reason why the babies were even saved.
exactly. That is just how important this guy is. OG all the way.
Absolutely. Like that. I'm glad we're in agreement.
Now what about Birdo?
All right. So, do you know the full story of Birdo?
What's the full story of Birdo?
So, Birdo is the first transgender character in gaming.
Are you serious?
In the handbook of Mario Bros. 2, they say Birdo is a man who likes to dress pretty. They continue to then call Birdo a she.
Wow. I did not know that.
That's why I wanted to share that nugget. Because I know a lot of people don't particularly think of Birdo that much. But I think Birdo, if you really read Birdo's backstory, has a lot to bring to the table.
You know what's funny? For that reason and the fact that she was in Robot Chicken, she gets an S.
She gets an S. And she was in Robot Chicken.
Yeah.
But yes, Birdo, the history of Birdo, honestly, like, I didn't like Birdo that much. But when I found out that little nugget, that Birdo shot up my, like, character tier list. I was like, you know what? I like her. She's a cool character.
Yeah, she's got substance.
And she was a mini boss in Super Mario Bros. 2.
That is true as well.
So
Again,
you know what?
More substance than our OG Mario.
Exactly. She's got more character just because someone decided to read the handbook.
God, I love it.
All right, now continuing. Let's talk about evil Mario and Wario.
Ooh, haha. So, you might disagree with me,
Let's hear it.
but if there's any other character that deserves double S, it's Wario.
All right, you're gonna have to hard pitch me on this one, because Wario to me was an A.
Okay, so hear me out. One, he's a much better version of Mario.
That's why I thought he was an A personally. He is definitely a much better Mario.
He's a much better Mario, right? And in my book, he is the perfect level of character that Mario needed to be for Mario to be an S class. Okay.
Okay.
But in all of his games, okay, where he's again his own franchise, he carries his own franchise,
He does.
right? He's actually interesting. Like you actually get some backstory from him, and the games are freaking fun to play. They're freaking amazing. My daughter, who's 7 years old, knows who Wario is, but not Mario.
I think
Because
that
of the
one
game.
line just sold me that your daughter knows Wario. I can give him double S. I'm sorry, but we're not putting him in front of Yoshi. Yoshi's too good.
If you put him at S class, I'm cool with S class. You know, I just feel like double S in my book. That's where I was at.
I honestly,
Because
you know what? Because like that is a good point you mentioned. Like, you have a kid that doesn't know Mario but knows Wario because Wario has more like going for him. He definitely has a personality in there. So
when he
like,
was introduced as a character in what was his first game? God, what was it? What was that game called?
it's time for Captain Google. Wario's first game. His first appearance was in Super Mario Land 2.
It was. It was. He was the final boss.
Yep.
He was the final boss. Yeah, that was that one for me. That was it. I loved him as a character from there. But then his own franchise after that, pretty much, he's been one of my favorite characters after since then. One of my main favorite characters since
You know,
Super
he
Smash Brothers. He's just freaking awesome, and I just love him.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I wasn't really thinking, but like, he definitely brings like a lot to the table. Like, we know he loves money. He loves garlic. He has a superhero personality.
The entire WarioWare series in my book is just fantabulous. I don't have any complaints.
So you know what? I can agree double S for him. He's not greater than Yoshi, but he is a solid number two. You have definitely. I feel like it was an easy sell because they gave him so much more than Mario for some reason.
Have you played the Get It Together game?
Yes, I did.
I love that game.
That is a great game.
Countless hours played with my daughter in that game. We just oh my god, it's so fun.
So
And now my youngest, she throws the controller at my TV now, playing the same game. It's amazing.
got to get her a softer controller.
We got a little rubber squishy around it.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah, so she can't break anything. But yeah, no, neither one of them play any Mario games at all. They both play the Wario game.
Yeah, that's that you sold it, just the Wario game right there. All right, here's one that I think is going to be controversial because I don't particularly like this character that much.
Okay.
Waluigi.
um, so tell me your reasons as to why you don't like him.
So Waluigi was created to be a tennis partner for Wario.
Yep,
What has he done after that?
absolutely nothing.
Exactly. He's literally only around to be in Mario Party, to be, just he's a Mario Kart character. Like, he has not been in a mainline Mario game. He's
He has
done
not.
none of that. He I don't get why people like him so much. Like, there was a huge petition for him to be in Smash. Like, I'm cool with the assist trophy relegation for him personally. His only role that I remember him being the main villain was in Mario Dance Dance Revolution.
Was he really the villain in that?
He was the villain in that.
Holy crap! I did not know that.
But that is sad. Like, that's his only thing. He's Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah, no, that's trash. That's
I'm sorry, but like, I don't like him. Like, I can give him a C ranking. Like, that's the highest I'm willing to go. But again, like, I'm down. Anything low is perfect for me. Like, I can't go higher than a C though.
I mean, you're better than me. I would have just instantly been like F
Yeah, you know what?
automatically.
I will take all the hate for that. That's an F. Like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but like, he doesn't do it for me. Like, he thinks everyone's cheating. That's
I feel like when your introduction into Mario Party is just cheap tricks and gimmicks, yeah, you don't get a pass in my book
no, I do not like Waluigi as a character, so he's getting my F tier.
all day long.
Alrighty, Big Bad Bowser.
Well, you know my feelings on him. I mean, he was S class before, so the only
Yeah,
question now is he still S class or do we upgrade him to double S?
I don't think he deserves double S. And the only reason why though is because, like, unfortunately, just his plans don't earn double S for me.
I can agree with that. I think that he can be much more fleshed out as a villain, and they don't. I think that, especially over the years, they've kind of dumbed him down a little bit. He had that terror factor in the original games, and I really appreciated that terror factor. Playing, the original Mario games gave me the same level of stress-induced anxiety as playing like Super Metroid, and like fighting Ridley, right? It was that level. It's like you could switch from playing Mario and then switch over to playing Super Metroid, and you have equal nightmares about fighting Bowser and fighting Ridley. So it's like,
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like I compare Bowser. Like when I think of Bowser, I think about all villains. Like him, Robotnik. You mentioned Ridley, Mother Brain. Those are like S tier villains for me because like they're so iconic. Like if
Yep.
you think about other villains, like think about the Halo villain. I don't even know like who really the main villain is. Like what, the Covenant? Like I'm sorry, but they're not the most interesting. The Flood are a
No.
bunch of zombies from Halo. Like in Call of Duty, like that's historical villains. That's not fun. Like when
Yep.
it comes to like big bads, like you want like the original villains. And I think just S tier is perfect for him. If they gave him a little more personality, he could reach the double S tier for me, but I think unfortunately we cannot go higher.
Yep. I'm in agreement with that. I do S class.
Yes. Pink Gold Peach.
I don't know. I don't have any feelings on any of the metallic-y guys there.
So here's the thing. She was only introduced in Mario Kart 8 and for no reason.
That's what I thought.
And that's an F for me. You are a gimmick character because there's a Metal Mario.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that
F there. That's an F.
all day long.
All right, we're gonna do this as a duo because I know you got a little rant going on. So we're just gonna combine these two. Baby Mario, Baby Luigi. I'm gonna let you start.
You know my strong feelings on these baby characters. I think they are utter dog-ish. They're trash. If there's a below the F, we can put them below the F. I do not like the baby characters at all. They serve no purpose in my book. I feel like they're just complete garbage characters all in all. I do not like them.
So I will agree. I do not like them. I'm not a big fan of them. Honestly, I didn't like the babyification of all the characters that they've been doing. It's not particularly fun.
It's
But
not. It's not. I feel like they lost their core audience. Okay, so I have a whole rant. I have a whole rant on the baby characters.
that's
Okay,
why we're
and
here.
and any hopefully people can agree. I feel like when you have a genre like this, when you have these iconic characters, where again, I'm definitely not 50, but I'm definitely not 20 either. I grew up with these characters. I don't need a baby version of them, right? Who is this for? Is it for babies? Babies don't play this game. My babies know who Wario is. Do they care if there's a baby version? No. Do I care if there's a baby version? No. Does it make it cuter? No. So what's the point of making a baby version of these guys? There is none. I don't care if it's story driven or not. It's pointless. It makes no sense. You know what you could have done instead? Could have made them like more grown. You could have made them old. Could have made old Mario, old Luigi, right? Nerfed them, made them walk super slow. Better game, 100%. These guys, no, not at all. Trash.
So my argument for D, that's the highest I'm going as a D. They do kind of provide a bit of a story. They, kind of a prequel of like what's going on with Mario and Luigi. In the original Yoshi's Island game, they were hell of annoying, which is why again I'm not going any higher than a D.
Very annoying.
And honestly, if they just finished at Yoshi's Island, fine. Then the baby characters were done. We got a prequel. We got the story. We figured out how Mario and Luigi ended up where they were.
Yep.
And that's why again I'm like, all right, D tier's fine. Here's where they lost me, and why if you're hard set on F, I will agree with you. They took it too far.
Yes, exactly.
We don't need baby Mario and Luigi in Mario Kart. We don't need them in the sports games. We don't need them in sequels. We don't need them pairing up in a paradox with the older version of themselves. That's not needed.
Exactly my point. Honestly, Yoshi's Island for me. You know my feelings on Yoshi, right? You know my feelings. They were hella annoying in that game. That was the first time I was like, you know what? These are pointless characters while playing that game. So if I did not like them while I was playing one of my favorite games of all time, I would not like them in any iteration after that. In fact, it just went downhill from there. So yeah, I'm not a fan.
So I will agree with your F, because you know what? Honestly, so here's what makes it even more funnier. Yoshi's Island 64 was better because they took those characters out.
Oh my God, yes. I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say the exact same thing. Yes, 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 100%. Anytime you can remove a character and it's better for it, yes.
And that's the thing. You notice that all the new Yoshi games, they're not back. They're only in the remastered versions of games.
That makes me feel so much better on the inside. I'm justified in my F tier, because everyone loves babies. People are like,
These
oh,
no,
baby, baby, baby. No, not these guys.
these
No.
guys are no. Because like in Yoshi's Woolly World, they're not there. Yoshi's Crafted World, they're gone. So it's like
Yep.
no, they knew exactly what they needed to do.
Yep. So they can eat baby poop.
Metal Mario.
Metal Mario. Honestly, he is, in my opinion, the cool version of what Mario should be. He gets an A.
He's a cool version of what Mario should be.
He looks cooler.
I get he looks cooler, but he's just as bland, in my opinion.
He is. He's actually more bland, in my opinion.
So I don't just because of looks alone, I can't give him an A.
Yeah.
He really does serve no purpose. Like he had what? He was like a mini boss in Smash 64, but that was really it. That's all he did.
Yeah, that was basically it. But he looked
I
cool though. He
I'm
looked really cool
fine. Like
doing it.
I can't like I can rank him as high as Mario. I can't go above Mario because he actually does less for me.
Uh, yeah, he does, but he looks cooler.
I mean, I'm sorry that metal
I mean,
doesn't do it for me.
so just think back. Think back to playing Mario 64. And you're playing along, and all of a sudden you see a metal version of Mario pop out. Didn't it make your heart just make little flitter flutters, and you're like, oh my god, it's a metal version of Mario.
No, I thought, wow, it's actually really easy to walk underwater now that I'm metal. And I'm sorry, but like I don't know. Like he's had, so he was a power up in 2 games. He was a mini boss in Smash 64, and he was just reintroduced to Mario Kart in Mario Kart 7. He doesn't really hold the place for me. Like I'm sorry, I don't have the most fond memories of Metal Mario. I just kind of saw him as like, all right, you're helping me do what I need to do, but I'm also not going out of my way to use you as a character.
So, okay, I gotta pull the historical significance card again.
Historical significance.
So let's think back. Mario 64.
Mario
Okay,
64, yep.
first 3D game, right?
Yep.
First 3D Mario game, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, the game itself kind of changed the trajectory of how Mario games in the future are built, made, look, that whole 9 yards.
Easily did.
Um, and his introduction at that time was kind of like a oh snap power up. It was kind of the
So
equivalent of seeing like Super Saiyan Goku,
I wouldn't even
at
call
least in
that
my.
the most interesting power up in that game.
It wasn't. It's maybe it's just me. Maybe me looking at that and being tired of looking at Mario, and I was like, oh snap, check it out. There's a metal version. And I'm like, oh, that's badass.
I think that's what it is. I think you're just so unimpressed by Mario, just seeing him as a different texture just made him slightly more interesting for you, I feel like.
I can agree with that. I can give you that. I'm so thoroughly unimpressed with Mario that any version of him that's different is better.
And that's the thing, like I'm sorry to say, like so Metal Mario for me wasn't even the greatest power up in that game. Like when I think Mario 64, I'm thinking of the wing cap.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
And so that like again, like the reason why Metal Mario is like I'd say a B for me is because
hmm
like yeah, he was introduced during the like a game-changing game, like game-changing era-defining game. He was a mini boss in a game and he's in Smash Bros like for a little bit.
Yeah,
But besides
yeah. I
that,
mean,
he doesn't do anything else.
I can agree with that. I think my bias towards Mario is what's making me feel better about him. But yeah, he's equally as bland as Mario. We can
So
give him a B.
I'll give him a. All right. And I think unless you have individual thoughts about them, I think we kind of in agreement here last time we spoke. But the Koopalings.
I don't know. I thought about it. I think we were being a little bit too harsh last time.
Oh,
And
absolutely. We absolutely were. Because you know what? I did a little more looking into it. Now, can I say any of the Koopalings deserve to be higher than a B? Absolutely
whoa,
not.
hold on. Wait. I didn't say we were that hard on them. We were. I mean, they are not below the F. They all are equal to all the baby characters.
They're equal to the baby characters.
Yes, all of them.
You know what? I can't even. I like as much as I want to be like, let's actually have a debate for a little bit. I can't. I really can't. Because the thing is, what do the Koopalings actually do to the game? What do they actually do?
I mean, I can see the point of introducing them as characters to kind of spice up and give a little bit of variety to like Super Mario, and I I'm trying to find a reason to like them, but I just can't.
So all right. In Mario 3 was when they were first introduced. Great
Hmm.
idea. Bring them in to add mini bosses. Like switch up the formula. Once you get to the end of the world, you're not fighting Bowser. You're
Yep.
fighting a Koopaling. That's great. That's awesome.
Yep.
Years down the line, new Super Mario Bros. On the Wii, bring them back. Great idea. Next year, they're back again. Okay, why are we fighting them again? After that, okay, why are we fighting them like a third time in a row? Mario Kart
Yep.
8 gets announced. Why are they here? There is a cooler version of all of them in Bowser Jr., and he didn't even make the cut for the original Mario Kart 8.
Yes. Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Mario Kart 8
Yes.
Deluxe, they bring in Bowser Jr. No one's playing as the Koopalings, but they tried to make Roy the meta of Mario Kart 8, and I hated that idea. No one likes Roy, only
Nope.
because all right, he's part of the meta because he's a heavier character, but he is nothing. He is
Nope.
nothing.
Iggy was my guy for a little bit, but yeah, I couldn't. I can't give it past any of the other ones.
No, like Wendy is nothing. Honestly, like Ludwig, just because of the hair. That's really it. Just the hair.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Like,
I honestly can't. I mean, honestly, the whole. So for me, it was kind of like I love the whole airship, battle sequence and kind of going through that whole deal, and then getting to the end and kind of having to fight a little Koopaling. It was interesting because you got to see somebody new, right? But the letdown after fighting each one was kind of like, okay, that was a thing, and that was it. That for me, the entire airship level was the highlight of fighting them. Having to go through that whole airship level in my book was more entertaining than fighting the boss itself.
yeah, honestly, like so it was a cool idea. They've executed it poorly now because we've been overexposed to these guys and they don't do anything. They don't do anything for me.
They don't. And then also they could dodge hammers or something, right?
They could
I
dodge
feel I,
hammers.
or they you couldn't hit them with a hammer or something stupid like that if I remember right.
Honestly, it sounds about right. It's something ridiculous.
It was something stupid, and I was like, that makes no sense. That breaks the world logic in my book. And as soon as that occurred, I was done with them. I'm like, no, they make no sense.
Yeah, you know what? I'm happy with our tier list. What do you think? Do you have anyone that you think needs a rediscussion on this one?
I think we did pretty good. I think we did pretty good. I don't see anybody that belongs in a higher or lower list in my book. I'm pretty happy with where we have everybody.
I am ready for debates though when this episode comes out. We're gonna have a lot of debates about the Waluigi F tier, but I think we're both in agreement. We'll send him to listen, but like he's got nothing behind him.
Yeah, no, honestly, if he had a little bit more substance, I would be okay ranking him higher. But no, he's right there with the baby characters and all the Koopalings.
He
The
is.
only matter of fact, the only one that I might rank higher than F is the magic guy that's not the cloud guy.
Magic Koopa, you'd say go to D tier?
I've been thinking about that hard since we put him in F tier, and he's not the same level of trash as the baby characters or the Koopalings. I think he can go to D tier. What do
All
you
right.
think?
We're gonna move up. So the reason why I agree with you, like I honestly D or F is fine with me, but I'll give him a pass because in the newer games he does provide power boost to some of the mini bosses,
Yep,
and he might have a good role in the new Mario Bros. Movie. We don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
that's what I'm thinking too. Like just those two things, and also the fact that I think in some of the later games, um, he's not as one dimensional. makes him more than an F for me. I can't. I don't want to be that harsh. He's D. He's D tier.
Yeah, he's D tier. You know, we could get. I can agree with the D. Um, besides that, honestly, everything else does look good. I think Diddy Kong was left by himself in the C tiers, but I think he's earned that C tier ranking.
Yeah, I thought about that too. He's by himself there, but the only way we would move him out of that C tier by himself is if we shrunk some of the classes and move people down. But I'm not willing to do that. I think the
No, I think
double S with Yoshi and Wario warranted, definitely warranted, and I think the F tier with everybody in it is definitely warranted. So
very
I think
warranted.
we're good.
All right. Well, that has been our first episode of Fan Court. Ken, I hope you had a great time doing this.
I did. It's time for a beer.
It's definitely time for beer, but I hope you're ready to debate more because we got tons more to debate down the road.
Ooh, are we doing Sonic characters next?
I think we might have to.
Ooh, actually, no. No. Street Fighter.
All right. So then I think our next episode has been determined. Make sure you tune in next time as we debate Street Fighter characters. We're going to do a tier list just like this one. And honestly, just make sure to keep up with it. It'll be on YouTube and wherever you can find podcasts. Make sure to follow me on Twitter if you want to debate, and I'll make sure to send it along to my partner here, Ken, and we will debate you on any of these.
You can follow him if you want. It's at sure you can, but I don't use it anyway. So if I find people tweeting me, I will ignore it.
That's why you got to tweet at me, and we'll have a nice heated debate.
There you go.
Alrighty, we will see you next time. I hope you all enjoyed.